Right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our CIELO workshop series. So glad to see all of you. And I see a lot of new faces. I see a lot of familiar faces too. And I know it's a little bit past 4 o'clock right now, but typically I like to start around 4:05 and give a little bit more time to let more of our attendees log in. So while we're waiting, if all of you could please participate in our virtual icebreaker. So this is our way of getting to know one another here in our virtual setting, in our virtual room, being that we're not all together side by side. So if you could, in the chat box, please share your name, your business name, if you've already started your business. And if you're from an organization, the name of your organization and your role. And if you haven't started your business yet, or you're also not part of an organization, but looking to start a business, what type of business are you planning to start? And also feel free to include your business social media handles and website, links to your website, if applicable. So let's go ahead and work on that in the next few minutes, and we'll get started in about 2 minutes. All right, everyone, as a reminder, if you haven't had a chance to, please participate in our virtual icebreakers. So if you can put in your name, business name, name of the organization that you may be representing today, your role. If you haven't started a business, what type of business you're starting, are you planning to start? And for all of you who have existing businesses already and a social media presence, feel free to include your business social media handles, website, etc. So go ahead and enter that in before we end today. All right, so it's 4:05. I want to go ahead and get started. So again, welcome everyone to our CIELO workshop series. Very excited about today's topic and very excited to have our financial professionals here participating in our panel today. So before we get started, I want to do a few introductions. So I'll start off with CIELO. So who we are and what we do here at CIELO. So CIELO stands for Community for Innovation, Entrepreneurship, Leadership, and Opportunities. And a little bit about us, we've officially launched back in 2015, but we've been helping clients since 2012. We're a nonprofit organization helping aspiring entrepreneurs become business owners. We help you build and develop the entrepreneur mindset needed to help you achieve success. We provide the resources and guidance, and you provide the hard work and the passion. So one thing I do want to make clear is that we are a nonprofit organization, so all of our programming and all of our services are available at no cost to our clients. So what services do we offer here at CIELO? We do have a small business development training program. We also offer the monthly workshop series, which is what we're doing here today. We also offer one-on-one small business coaching. We do have a client navigation department, which provides support to our business clients up until launch and even afterwards. We also have a microgrant program for CIELO business startups. If you do go through our programming, you may qualify for a small microgrant that can help towards startup costs for starting your business. And we also want to be a connection to small business resources and services. So I want to share some upcoming events that we have. Our next session of the Small Business Startup Program is on September 12th. So take a journey on the Entrepreneur Roadmap to Business Launch. This is a 6-week training program for entrepreneurs and startups. It includes live classroom training and one-on-one business coaching. Topics include how to pick a business name, advertising on social media, introduction to business financials, and much, much more. If you are interested in attending or want to learn more about it, feel free to email us at info@cielocommunity.org or scan the QR code for more information. We also have our CIELO networking mixture coming up on July 12th, 2023. So it is coming up in the next 2 weeks, 2 Wednesdays from now, from 5 to 7 p.m. So it's going to be in Costa Mesa. It's going to be a big event, but my apologies if it's already sold out. Well, it's free of charge, so my apology if there's not any availability. I know we're getting close, but if you're interested in attending, we are going to be serving tacos. So, and that's actually from one of our client vendors or one of our clients. So feel free to join us, granted that we have the availability. Some reminders of today's workshop. We are going to send a recap email by either the end of this week or early next week. It'll include the recording of today's workshop. We don't have to worry about a presentation deck today, but any guest speaker contact information will also provide. So if you want to reach out to them in the future. And we are going to have a Q&A session at the end of today. We really encourage all of you to be able to participate in that. So we hope to have at least 15 to 20 minutes for you to be able to interact with our panelist. So that's enough from me here at CIELO. So now I'd like to pass it on to our partners and co-hosts for today's workshop, Jessica from Small Business Majority.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited about this webinar today, and I'm very glad that all of you guys are making time to be here because we do have really great information to share with all of you guys coming from the finance world. You know, when originally, but I was finance has never been like one of my strengths, right? And when I thought about finance, I thought about the bank and that was it. And there's a lot more to that. So we have brought you a little bit of everyone to share some of the information and how they could potentially support you with your small business. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Jessica Anguiano. I am the SoCal Outreach Manager with Small Business Majority. And just like CIELO, we are a nonprofit organization and we support small businesses at no cost to you. The way that we work is we work with policy and research. So we do a lot of research to be able to gather data that can support you as a small business owner. But we also do policy. We advocate for small business owners. We create bills that if they are going to support you, in the long run, that is something that we're constantly advocating. And we also work with small business owners in as far as advocacy. If you want to become a spokesperson and you don't have the experience, it's completely okay. Our organization is here to support you. And lastly, we do education. That's where I come in. This is where I bring in our great partners and provide that information for you guys. That's pretty much it. I'm excited to be here. Alex, I'm going to pass it on to you so we can pass it on to our panelists and so they can do an introduction.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. So what I'd like to do right now is for our panelists, if you'd like to actually do a quick introduction on yourself, your role, and we'll actually go in order from what I see on the screen here. So Lisa, if you'd like to go first.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Nguyen. I am the boss bean at Smart Bean Bookkeeping. I actually have been involved with the CIELO community for a while now, and I'm so honored to be here today. Hopefully, I could help with some insights in regards to accounting, bookkeeping, and the sort of things that small business owners has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I see a lot of friendly faces too, so that's always nice. So I'm looking forward to a really great session today.
Awesome, thank you, Lisa. All right, now we'll go ahead and pass it on to Sam Ramirez from Pacific Premier Bank.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It's great to be on here with CIELO. I know we've got a pretty long-standing partnership with Pacific Premier Bank and CIELO, so I'm a senior Vice President, Senior Relationship Manager of Branch Banking. So I oversee a lot of the commercial production that comes from our retail offices across our footprint in the Western U.S. So all the way up from Washington down to the U.S.-Mexican border and into the Southwest, Phoenix, Tucson, Nevada. So yeah, happy to be here. Quick and easy.
All right, thank you, Sam. All right, next we got Mel Baquero from Accessity.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mel. I am the Business Development Officer for Accessity. We are a nonprofit CDFI. We do lending to small businesses, entrepreneurs, specifically trying to target the LMI community, people of color, Hispanics, basically the underserved markets. I work in the area of Riverside. However, our company covers basically from Bakersfield South down into San Diego. I've been with the company a little over 3 years, and I have been working with CIELO and also with Small Business Majority for a little bit of time now. I've gone through a couple of these webinars with them. I'm super excited to be a part of this one. And just to follow up on what Alex was saying, if you do get a chance to go to their mixer, it is a no miss opportunity. It is so much fun, high energy, and it's just like, you won't regret going. I went last year and I just couldn't believe it was just amazing. You get to meet a lot of other small business entrepreneurs, and it's a really great event. Great event. So I would recommend trying to go if you can. But again, I'm here to help you. Any questions I might be able to answer at the end of our webinar, I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully helping as many people as I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel. And you're right. We did have a good time last year. So yes, thank you for the plug on that. All right. So I know that we're just missing Elizabeth. Jessica, I'm not sure if I see her on here. She's having some tech difficulties.
Yeah, it's okay. We can get started if you like, and then we can just get her to jump on whenever she can, so we don't hold anyone back.
Sounds good. All right, Jessica, so I'll go ahead and pass it on to you.
Wonderful. Well, let's get this party started. I'm going to go ahead and start with Sam. Sam, can you tell us a little bit about the resources that you provide for small businesses?
Yeah, so we work with small middle market companies across our footprint. We offer various lending products from your conventional lines of credit, equipment loans, to more of like a we call it a quick score program, where it's a little bit less paperwork required, a simple application, and it gets vetted rather quickly. We also are a preferred vendor with the SBA. So every time we put a package together, we do the underwriting, we do all the heavy lifting, it gets presented to SBA, it essentially goes through a much smoother process versus a lender that may not be an SBA preferred lender.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And then for those that are not very familiar with the banking industry, can you tell us a little bit about what is underwriting?
So underwriting is, we take a couple of years of tax returns, financial statements on your business, depending on whether it's conventional or the quick score, and we do checks and balances. We see, what the gross sales were, what the, gross profit was, what, expenses, overhead, all of that, and what's netted out. And then from there, it's determined on what the company is able to support on a monthly reoccurring basis, whether it's a line of credit or a loan.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And I do want to encourage everyone that as they're answering questions, to please enter some of those, any questions that you may have in the chat box, because I know that sometimes they come to mind and then we forget them. So do put them in the chat box and we will get to them as soon as possible. Now, Melba, can you tell us a little bit about what Accessity does for small business owners?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned before, we are a CDFI, we're a community development financial institution. We try to get financial resources to companies that are just starting, that usually cannot get financing from a bank because they don't meet the requirements of, depending on the bank, 1 or 2 years in business and maybe gross revenue per year of about 250,000. It's 100,000 with some of the banks. But in the event that they don't fit into this criteria, that's where Accessity steps in, and we try to help them get the funding they need to get going until they become quote unquote bankable, and then they can go back to their banker or another financial institution and get their loan refinanced. We lend up to 100,000. In some rare cases, and I mean rare, we can maybe lend a little bit more than 100,000, but it has to be a super strong borrower. And usually that would be someone that has already been established in business. So although we are able to also give loans to the startups, we can also give loans to established businesses and that maybe need capital to expand or have been working from home and decided they want to get a storefront. In the event that we can't help the client, which does happen, obviously not everybody's going to qualify, we then try to connect that client with the various resources that are out there to help them, be it credit repair, help with their financials, like getting financials put together, business plans, stuff like that. The idea is to not ever have a client come to us and then say, we can't help you, good luck. So if we can't help you, we want to be able to at least point you in the right direction so that you can get what you need and then hopefully come back so then you're ready to get some funding.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that information.
Sure.
And this is why it's so important to connect with the ecosystem, because sometimes we have this thought and we don't know where to start. And even if Melba wasn't your answer, she can direct you to the right person. So thank you so much for that, Melba. Okay, wonderful. Lisa, as I mentioned before, once upon a time when I got introduced to finance, I was automatically thinking about banks. And I didn't realize that there was a lot more to finance. So can you tell us a little bit about your role and what does bookkeeping have to do with business?
Yeah, so thank you, Jessica. And thank you for the opener of going to Sam and Melva first, because that's make my job so much easier to explain. So remember how Sam said you have to package the loan together to submit to the SBA, or for underwriting, Melva is the same. So in order for banks to give you money, they have to basically review your financial status, your strength, and that's what we do. Bookkeeping is a very tedious work of organizing all of your financial data into reports format that makes sense to financial institution. So that's number one for you to be able to get funding. The other part of it, and which is the part that I enjoy the most, is to actually help you understand your numbers, right? So you got to know where you're at in order to figure out where you're going. And as a small business owners, whether you're just starting out or you've been in business for a while, not all of us have that training to understand basic financial statements. And those are some of the things I really think that business should take a little time just to understand, just to know how to read it, just to know the relationship between like an income statement versus a balance sheet, and how that looks to your lenders like Sam or Melva. What does that look like to them? And so that's what we do. Is we have two jobs. One is we keep you organized, up to date. We have our company, we have a staff of 20 associates that can always answer your phone. Our return time is very quickly. And so the other part of it is helping you understand your numbers.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So we're all intertwined somehow, some way.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that. And it doesn't stop there. It keeps going. And that's where Elizabeth comes in. Elizabeth, can you tell us a little bit, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about your organization, and then tell us what is it that you do to support small business owners?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me. And my organization is Modern Woodmen of America. We are a team of financial advisors that focus on helping small business owners. Of course, we will help individuals and families, but as a boutique firm, we definitely focus on helping small business owners, getting them set up either with their 401k or employee benefits, but as well focus on making sure that the financials are, their personal financials are separate from the business financial. A lot of business owners tend to commingle those and mix a bunch of things in there. So we want to make sure we keep everything in line and make sure that they're up to date with what they need to do to make sure that they can reach their financial goals individually as well as a business owner.
Wonderful. Thank you. Alex, do you happen to have any questions so far before I jump to the next one?
All right, let me go ahead and check. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, wonderful.
yet.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and dive in a little bit deeper, and I'm going to go back to Sam. Sam, if I wanted to start my business, what are some of the things that you're looking for in order for me to move forward in getting a loan with you or with your organization?
To start a business?
Do you work with startups, or do they have to be already in business?
They've got to have they've got to be in business.
Okay.
Kind of have a couple of years of being in business under their belt in order for us to kind of take a look at it. But again, we work with a lot of partners, different CDFIs that we can always refer them to and say, hey, this is one of the options that could be in the meantime while you kind of get up and running and get a little bit more established.
Wonderful. And what are some of the success factors that you look at when lending to a small business owner?
So some of the success factors that we're looking for is just being able to, as a business owner, you want to keep a close eye on your P&L, your balance sheet, which are pretty big factors on how your company is performing. Essentially, that's a health checkup like a doctor would be able to provide you. For example, if you're improving your ARs, going from some of your vendors that are paying you 90 days, 100 days out, now you're reducing it to 40 days, 45 days, 30 days. That's a big improvement because it improves your cash flow. And cash flow is king in order for you to keep your business operations. It's the lifeline, it's the lifeblood of your business. So the more that you have access to the cash flow from your payments that you're receiving from vendors or lines of credit, once you've got a year or two in business operations, then the better your operation could be ran.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. So Melba, I'm going to move on to you. And Melba, I don't want to call this cheating because Melba and I have already had some previous conversations, but I do want to bring some of those conversations here because I think they're worth highlighting. Melba, can you tell us a little bit about what you have seen about the fear of small business owners pulling out a loan to actually leverage and not to get them quote unquote in debt?
Yes, we see this a lot, and it is very unfortunate. I do think that it is, I want to say it's probably just because they don't know any better. They're not financially savvy yet. They're probably not doing, they're trying to do a grassroots type of effort to get their business up and running. So they're just pulling money from the fastest place they can get it, right? Which is where their savings and credit cards. I think, especially I see this a lot with the Latin community. They do not like to take loans out because they're like, I don't want to owe money. And so they start using all of their capital. And by the time they realize that that's not going to be enough, it's usually a little too late for us to be able to help them, because then what happens is them using their credit lowers their their FICO scores, their credit scores. And also it puts their debt to income ratios upside down, because now they owe all this money. They're maxed out on all their credit cards, and the income that's coming out sometimes just isn't enough to offset what, the payment's going to be. So I think it's just, like I said, just a lack of information that they don't get. And so I see that, that fear. And even sometimes when they come to us and we get them approved for a loan, sometimes they think twice, sometimes even turn down the loan because they're like, oh, I don't want to take on this debt. But, unfortunately, you have to take a little bit of risk in order to grow. But more importantly, you need to use your money as leverage to borrow money, so that you use your money, your savings. That's going to be your safety net. If you have money in the bank, don't use all that money. Use that as your safety net and borrow money. And then if you get into a problem, at least you have money from where to draw. But if you already maxed out on everything and now you borrowed, you have no safety net. So I see that as a really big stumbling block for a lot of new business owners. And I get it. I know what they're trying to do, and their efforts and thoughts are in the right place, but it doesn't work usually in their favor in the long term in order for them to grow. So
thank you for that. And I really like to give the example that sometimes, it's scary to take out that extra loan, but sometimes if that loan is to support you to buy that machine that can create the labor work of 10 different people, you're killing yourself less. That you don't have to do the work. The machine will do the work for you. So we have to look at the big picture when creating or wanting to pull out a loan. And then I have one more question for you, Melba. When should a small business owner start thinking about going to pull out a loan?
They need to start thinking of a loan when they don't need the loan. That is the honest truth. When they have all the money in the bank and before they get into borrowing against their credit cards, that's when they should actually be considering the loan, because that's when their leverage is the strongest. So that might be right as soon as they start the business, or it might be 6 months before they start the business and before they've thrown capital into that venture, because that's going to be the best time where they're going to look the most appealing, for lack of another word, to an underwriter. An underwriter's going to look at them and say, well, they've got money in the bank. They haven't maxed out their credit cards yet. They don't really need this loan. So we're going to give them the loan. And I know sometimes that doesn't make sense to a lot of borrowers. They're like, if I didn't need the money, I wouldn't be asking for it, right? Which is true essentially, but unfortunately, that's not the way the underwriter looks at it. They want you to come and get the money or start asking for the money when you don't need it, because that shows forethought and that you planned it out, not that you're just like, flying willy-nilly and I'm going to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. They want to see that you have a business plan and you're figuring out, okay, I'm going to need this money. This is what I'm going to do. This is going to get me to point B, and then so on and so forth. So yeah, I would say when you don't need it, or before you even start the business, to figure out how much you're going to want and start applying for it right away.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Melba. We have Martina that said, wow, great point. And this is why I love this type of panelist, because it just brings another perspective. What you don't know, you don't know. So this is why we're bringing in this great information. So I'm going to move on to Lisa. Let me tell you, Lisa, that whenever I think of an idea or a business or whatever the case is, I do not want to hear from who is successful. I want to hear from that person that stumbles so many times. What did you do wrong? So I won't have to do that too. So with that being said, Lisa, tell us a little bit about maybe a common mistake that you see in the bookkeeping world that we should know so we don't make that mistake.
Yes, thank you. So Elizabeth actually said a buzzword that I use all the time is commingling, right? So that's the number one, is if you're thinking about starting a business or you have already started your business, it is absolutely essential, so important that you do not mix your business and personal expenses. So from the very basic thing is making sure that you have a bank account that is dedicated for your business. Even if you're not at the point where you have like, a business name or file a DBA or a corporation yet, you can't just open a bank account that could be personal, but dedicate everything that is going through that bank account for business only. Same with credit cards, right? When you're first starting your business, nobody is giving you a business credit card, right? Just like Melva said, they don't give you money until you don't need it. So, so you can definitely use your personal credit card. Just again, dedicate that one card just for business expense, so to make your life easier. The other thing I want to also address is what Sam mentions in regards to the financial statement. So this is where it is so important to have bookkeeping, because let me just give you an example. Let's say you are a business that you buy inventory, you buy products to resell, wherever that is. It is depending on the flow of your business and the cash flow. You could put all that expense. Let's say you spend $5,000 on products, right? You can put all of that expense onto your profit and loss, and then they would affect your net income, right, on the business. But let's say of that $5,000, you are only selling right now $500 worth of products. The other $4,500 should probably go onto your balance sheet as inventory. So now all of a sudden your business net income is so much better than it was. And your balance sheet looks great because you have asset in the company. So that's the kind of things that, bankers look at. And that's the kind of thing that you need clear bookkeeping to support. And then Melva talked about loans, right? So when is a good time to, borrow money? Of course, when you don't need it. But what I also tell my clients about is when you are in business for a couple years and you're doing all right. Right now, I'm getting phone calls from all type of internet bank or lenders, and they are, right? You do get a lot of those, and it is so confusing on which one is legit, if the rate looks good. Even QuickBooks is offering QuickBooks funding. What rate is good? I always get that question from my clients. And unless you are Elizabeth, like a financial whiz who understand, that what it means, what the rate means, what I often tell my client is, you need to ask your lender at the end of the day, once I'm paid off this loan, what is my cost? So let's say I borrow $50,000, and by the end of the day, including all the interest on all the fees, I pay $5,000. That is your cost to have that money. Okay. The next step would be, you need to, if that $50,000 can make you $25,000, then take that loan. Because whatever money that you're bringing in to support your business, it should generate 3 to 5 times of the cost of having that loan. That would be my formula that I typically share with small business. Now, it doesn't apply to every business, depending on the size of the loans, right? Some business have much larger margin than others. So obviously review with your financial advisors, your loan officers, but always know what is the actual cost of the loan. Multiply that by 3 to 5 times and make sure that whatever you're borrowing that money is able to support how much you are spending to get that money. I hope that's helpful.
Yes, it's very helpful. And thank you so much for all of that great information. Again, just information that sometimes we don't think of. So thank you so much. And I really like the fact that you highlighted on separating both your personal account and your bank account. For those who were not in business back in when the pandemic was happening and the government was distributing money, I was actually one of those individuals that was supporting small businesses apply for these grants, money that you did not have to pay back. And then also there was loans that were at the lowest that you ever seen for a long time, right? But what happened is a lot of these small business owners were missing out of this opportunity for two reasons. One, because they weren't able to tell them what were their wins, what were their losses. And the other one was, we're not going to be able, we're willing to give you this money, but we're not going to be able to wire it to your personal. It has to be to your bank account. So there was a lot of craziness going on aside from the crazy virus, but also it was a lesson learned for many. So thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing that great information. Elizabeth, please continue to tell me some of these ugly stories that I want to hear so I don't have to make that same mistake. What is something that is very common with these small business owners it seems to be a trend that you would like to stop if you had a magic wand?
Absolutely. Well, there's obviously a lot, but one of the major ones is that business owners try to take on everything, right? Where business owners like to be in control, that's why they have their own business, but they try to take control over everything, right? They want to be the CPA of their business. They want to be the bookkeeper. They want to be the advisor. They want to be everything. And sometimes that can affect the business. And so a lot of the times is you don't have to know everything as a business owner, right? You follow your passion, you build that business, but definitely have a good group of professionals that surround you and that can help you achieve your financial goals as a business owner and as an individual. And what that includes is obviously a bookkeeper, a CPA, an advisor, even other roles that may come into play, right? Like lenders, whether it be commercial or regular residential, right? If real estate investing is something that you want to do. I just always tell my business owners, don't feel like you have to do everything. Definitely find professionals that you can trust and have them be able to help you get you to your goal. That I think has truly been how most of the very successful business owners that I know have gotten to where they're at. They take knowledge from other people and they kind of build upon that. So that's definitely something that I talk to everybody about and hope to one day be able to have the majority of business owners be following those steps to make sure that they can continue succeeding in their own business.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That is some great advice. And it's so true. Like sometimes they're our babies, so we try to control everything. But what we don't realize is that if we pass on those little things that we're not the best at, we can thrive at what we're really good at. And that is your product, your services. And then with that being said, Elizabeth, I do have one more follow-up question for you. So if with no experience, I do have a small business. Let's just say I have a small business, it's thriving. It's time for me to go ahead and hire a bookkeeper. Lisa's like, I'm right here. You don't have to look any further. But if I wanted to look for a bookkeeper or even anything that had to do with supporting my business, what are some of the red flags to look when I'm hiring a finance professional?
A finance professional as an advisor, bookkeeper, or just anything in general?
Just me not knowing anything in general. Okay. What are some red flags?
I would say red flags is non-communication. We come across a lot of clients that are like, yeah, I called this person and, I still haven't filed my taxes for a couple of years. It's crazy to hear that sometimes, but there's a lot of business owners, they get so busy with everything, or even starting off, there's a couple things that were like, did your CPA tell you this? Did they tell you that? Did your bookkeeper talk to you about this? And they're kind of like, oh, no. And so those are red flags. If you're talking to somebody about your business plan, right, and there's questions that you're not able to answer, a lot of the times, those are things that your CPA should be telling you. And as well, your bookkeeper, anybody that you partner up with is really the person that's going to help guide you through what route to take your business to. And again, I know that a lot of times starting off, we don't know what we don't know, but I think always ask questions and don't be afraid to ask the professional, why are you recommending to do this? why is this the route that we're taking? We tell our clients that all the time. When I recommend something, I encourage you to ask questions. I encourage you to, kind of challenge why I'm making this recommendation so that there can be a background on it so that you can know and be educated. So for me, it's always just that. Make sure that they are answering all your questions and make sure that there's constant communication. It's very crucial in having a good team behind you to make sure that you can succeed financially.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Yes, I agree with you. Do not be afraid to ask any questions. And by asking questions, like Elizabeth said, you are also teaching yourself, oh, this is the reason it goes in my payables instead of, see, I'm already picking up some of your guys' words. You start educating yourself because yes, Lisa is the professional and we should let Lisa do her job to help you thrive. But it's also important for you as a small business owner to understand what Lisa's doing or what Melba's doing or what Sam is doing, because they are humans, they do make mistakes. So it's always nice to be able to understand what they're doing. And if they don't want to answer you or they become like, how dare you ask me that question, it's definitely a big red flag. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Alex, it looks like we are almost at time. I don't know if you want to open it up to the to our audience to see if they have any questions.
Yeah, actually, this is a good time to do so. So yes, we'd like to open up for any questions you may have for all of you that are in attendance. You got the financial business professional dream team here. So definitely encourage you all to ask any questions to any one of our panelists. So we'll go ahead and open it up for questions.
You can go ahead and, I don't know, raise your little hand or unmic yourself.
Yeah, you can raise your hand or unmute if you like, but yeah, feel free to please ask a question.
Hello. This is Cindy. Yeah, I have a question about the counter, the contador. I have a counter, but this is the main role is only keep track about all my expenses. Or what kind of service he can provide me besides the, like maybe some advice about some so how to, I don't know. That's I would like to have some idea about I have the right service for my counter now because I'm thinking about, maybe some financial advice or something like that.
Who is this question for? Can you let us just?
This
I think it's for Lisa. She says for the accountant contador.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Melba.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for the questions. I would say that, as Jessica had said, when you are looking to get your financial organized, and because I know that for small business, when you're starting out, many of us has Excel spreadsheets, right? So we keep everything on the Excel spreadsheets, and it works fine when you don't have a lot of transactions. But as you get busier and you have more transactions, you'll be surprised by how many expenses that you might missed. So it's always a good idea to have some kind of software or have a system in place that the consistency of keeping, I'm sorry, my daughter keep running back and forth, and you could just turn this over. The consistency of having the information is important. So you want to make sure that when you are interviewing for accountant, that you interview a couple of them. Right? Just like anything else. For some reason, we hold accountant and CPA and book, financials people on a different standard. Like usually you talk to somebody and that's the person you go with. No, they're just like anybody other professional. Talk to at least two people, right? And ask them the question, say, oh, so-and-so say this, what do you think? And then, so that's number one. Number two is, whoever is working with you for your books, or your accounting part, should be somebody that you don't mind telling secrets to, okay? Because everything in there is, you know, is in the numbers, and you have to be that comfortable with them to be able to tell them what's going on in your business, and it might be able to give you some insights on that. So I highly recommend if, Victor is our VP of sales here for SmartBean. He's joining us here too, and schedule a consultation with Victor. And then he would be happy to just kind of show you where we're at, where you're at. And if we can't help you, we'll help you find somebody that is a good fit.
Okay,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. We do have a question from Sarah in the chat. And Sarah asks, when you say that we need a good team of professionals to seek guidance from, are these professionals we hire ourselves or just personal connections?
I believe this question is for Elizabeth.
Yes. This would be somebody, right, that you would be connected to. It would be a trusted partner, right, of whoever you're currently working with. If you have an advisor, if you have a bookkeeper, ask around, right? Who would you trust and who would you recommend to be able to help me take care of my books, help me be able to do my accounting? Because a lot of us are out there, right, forming relationships with trusted partners that we can eventually refer out to have resources like that for business owners, especially with all the panelists here today, right? We focus on helping business owners. So we help create relationships with people that we can eventually refer out, just so that helps out our business owners more, able to help us eventually get to that goal all together as a team. So it would definitely be somebody within the close network or somebody that you can be referred to.
Jessica, if I may add to this, if I may.
Sure.
This is something I'm also very passionate about that I love to share with people is when you start your business, right, you don't have the resources a lot of time to be able to hire a financial advisors, you know, your board of advisors. But you have friends and you have connections. And so what I did when I first started my business is I actually have an informal board of advisors that includes people that can help me think about marketing, that think about financials, think about lending, growing the business, all of that. And I say informal because I'm not paying them for these services, but you know, your friends, relative connection, they're rooting for you. Right. And I love being one of those people. CIELO is a great community to be able to get all that resources. So make sure you do that. Another thing I would recommend is get involved in like a professional network. You know, choose a good networking group, you know, BNI is actually a very good organization too, where you have professionals in there that you can maybe just have a coffee with and be able to ask your question and bounce ideas off without having to pay them. CIELO, again, is a great place to do that with. So take advantage of all those resources and develop your informal group of advisors. You don't have to hire them right away. Right, but you should have that on your speed dial.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lisa, for that great information. Again, connecting to your ecosystem always helps. You know, you can connect to CIELO and CIELO will connect you to one of our lenders and our lenders will, it's like a nonstop game. So just get plugged in and enjoy the ride. All right, any other questions from our audience? And you can unmute yourself. Don't be shy.
We're getting a lot of good feedback. And actually, you know what? We do have a question in the chat.
Oh,
So,
I see it. Yes.
all
All right. Mandy, she's asking, how do I decide to choose a bookkeeper over a CPA?
All right, Mandy, I love these questions. So we don't choose one over another. And one of the things I think Elizabeth kind of mentioned is, you know, people try to do it all. And one of the red flag, I would say, is someone to come to you and want to do it all for you. Because when it comes to money, separations of duties is so important because it helps prevent embezzlement, it helps prevent leakage of cash. So I always recommend that you have a bookkeeper and then a tax strategist or somebody who file your taxes, 2 different people. Because that way, and you pay the same amount of money. In fact, bookkeepers a lot of time way less expensive than CPAs to do your books. But you have 2 set of eyes looking at your financials, right? So if your CPA also do your bookkeeping and file your taxes, chances of that person being able to, you know, point out their own mistakes is much less than if they're reviewing my work, for example. So I would always recommend have the separation of duties, have the bookkeeper do the books, and then the tax advisor do the tax filing for you.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. Mandy said, good point, and thank you. Since we are coming to an end, Alex, I do want to ask Melba and Sam another question. And it's just more words of wisdom. So Melba, can you tell us what is one thing you would like for these small business to take today with them as words of encouragement or whatever you want to call it in your world?
Absolutely. So I think the most important thing is their attitude, and they should, you know, how they look at things. Not to be too overcome by fear to make, you know, a strategic move to try to grow the business, because people can get complacent and they're like, well, I don't want to take out that loan because I'm making good money and I don't want the added stress. So they don't do that and they don't grow. But, you know, if I always tell people, whatever you do, don't make a rash decision and just be like, I'm just going to do this. Like, actually think it through. And like Lisa, I believe it was Lisa that was saying, like, if you buy the piece of equipment and you know that piece of equipment is going to grow your business, then by all means get the loan so you can get the equipment. And don't think of so much of the negative stuff, because I find that a lot of people, they have so much potential, and the limitation that they have is not with us. It's not in the outside world. It starts right here. They are their own block, right? And so I think the biggest thing I could tell somebody is, you know, think positive. If other people can run their business and be successful, you can do the same. It all is going to come down to your effort and planning. That's it. I don't think it's, you know, obviously the market can affect your business depending on what kind of business it is. But like everybody here was saying, you can get all the support you need through bookkeeping, through financial planner. So it's not like you don't have the tools. You just have to step out of your comfort zone to access them. And that's what I would say.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Melba. I do
Sure.
see a question that came in from Martina, but I'm going to go ahead and ask Sam, and then we can pass it on to Martina, and then I'll pass it on back to you, Alex. Sam, the same question. Is there something that you would like to share with our audience that you would like them to take in as part of their business journey?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely say, you know, on top of all the good comments that the panelists have provided, is just make sure you're working with like a trusted professional that's looking out for your best interest. Because the last thing you want to do is feel like you're going to be rushing into something, you feel pressured where you're stepping into any sort of loan or some sort of service contract where you really don't understand what you're getting in there. That's key. That's what I tell all my clients that I talk to is, you know, I want to make sure that you have the information in front of you so that you can make an educated decision going forward. Because at the end of the day, we want our clients to be satisfied with the decisions that they make based on, you know, services or products that we provide them. So that would be key.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Sam. It's really, I think it's always a great feeling towards the end anyways, that you took that decision, that no one told you what to do. You know, you gathered that information and you went with your gut feeling. So thank you so much for that, Sam. Okay, Alex, I'm going to go ahead and ask this question, and then let's see, what does it say? Martina's asking, what is your opinion on having a CPA versus an enrolled agent with IRS? It sounds like a Lisa question. Yeah.
So this is my personal opinion. The difference between the two really is enroll agents can file taxes, and that's really is the main. A lot of people become an enroll agent to file taxes, right? And they can file taxes for all 50 states. So if you have business in different locations throughout the United States, maybe an enroll agent would be better because the CPA would have to get their license for each of the states that they have to file taxes for you. Okay, but the more important question would be, what is your purpose? What are you looking for this professional to be helping you with? If it's simply just file your taxes, then just have a conversation with them and just see their, their style. I know it's not the best word to use, but some tax filers take bigger risk than others in terms of compliance, in terms of tax audits and things like that. So you want to be clear about what is your purpose for hiring them? Are you looking for somebody who is also meeting with you every quarter to help you grow your business and plan, and strategize to help you grow and save on taxes, or just somebody to file your taxes? And I know there is a much bigger, longer answers for that too. So if you'd like to just talk to me more about this, just get my information and schedule time with me. I love helping the small businesses. So reach out to me. I will make time for you.
Lisa, very great information. Thank you so much. Melva, Sam, Lisa, Elizabeth, all of this information has been fantastic. I said it before, I've been part of the ecosystem for about 5 years, and I feel like every single time that I do a webinar, I learn something new. And I know that Alex can agree with me. So thank you so much. I hope that you guys have learned a thing or two today, and I'll pass it back to you, Alex.
All right, thank you, Jessica. So just to mirror those words, a big thank you to our panelists today. So Lisa, Mel, Sam, Elizabeth, and also Jessica, thank you for moderating as well. So I hope you all got something out of this. We really wanted to make sure that we get these financial professionals out here to our community and just interact with you all, because it's just, it's one thing to meet with them one-on-one or to want to meet with them, but to have them all here in one virtual setting at once is actually great. So thank you for sharing your advice, your expertise, and your knowledge. And with that, everyone, I know we're at 5 o'clock, so enjoy the rest of your night. Have a great and safe holiday weekend, and we'll see you all soon at the next event. Take care, everyone. Have a great one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.